It is absolutely no exaggeration to say that Charlie Chaplin was one of the most recognizable persons in 20th century films. Chaplin did almost everything in show business. He was an actor, director, screenwriter, producer, and he even composed music for his films. His work transcended time and language in a way that few others could. He was a master of making audience spontaneously cry and laugh, with his character of tramp being both introversion and celebration. It is no secret that Chaplin is amazing. Although what constantly surprised me is that his performance style captured the spirit of modernity in relation to machines, and his body language produced a glaze and comic effect. The essence of Chaplin's comedy was his mechanical movement, its development into a series of passages ending with a full stop and a pause. Every one of his movements is composed by chopped up bits of motion. Whenever you focus on his walk, or the way he handles his little cane, it is always the same jerky succession of tiny movements, which applies the law of unique sequence to that human motions. In his film The Circus, Chaplin introduces confusion between the animate and inanimate directly as a comic gag. First, he exploits the endless reduplication of image in a mirror maze, where the refractive figures mark and mimic the tramp's attempts to escape and the boundary between representation and reality. Next, he takes the refuges on a fairground, where a number of life-size automated figures perform repeatedly mechanical structures, integrating himself so exactly into the rhythm of automata that a puzzle policeman failed to see him. Chaplin connects the relationship between mechanical and the tramp's modes of performance. Laura Mulvey, a famous British film theorist, once says, Chaplin's screen personnel celebrates the cinema as a hypothesis of human as a machine and as a realization of fascinating ambivalence between movement and stillness. Chaplin's robotic movements are inherently funny. For each critic, it is not that machines are funny, it is the sign of human behaving in a machine way. The notion of comedy is serialized by Berson's book, Laughter, Essay on Meaning of Comic. He argues that the supreme comic image is something mechanical encrusted on something living. In other words, we find it funny when something non-mechanical, a human for example, appears to be mechanical, like Chaplin, appears to moving like a robot without the input of human mind. In order to achieve the cinema of attractions, one must invite film spectators' eyes into the screen, which creates an effect that the person cannot help to look at the performer while the performer is looking back at him. Early cinema was characterized by performers' theatrical direction at the camera, which invited the audience to look, but are clearly showing the performer looking into the camera and out on an imagined audience. At the beginning of City Lights, the Chaplin's theatrical appearance, his body comically unveiled in front of a crowd of people, that invites the spectators to focus on Tramp, while at the same time the very presence of Tramp in motion. Chaplin's comedies are never disappointing, not only because he's a natural-born actor, but also the amount of love he put into that can practically live off the screen. He's a perfect example of comedy being art, and his body movement certainly plays a huge part of the role.